Hi and welcome, I'm Elvira Boulet from the Dimitrov Boulet Piano Duo. In last week's video we were talking about the basics of transposing, and in today's video, part 2, I wanted to expand a little further on the topic and show you how to transpose a bit more efficiently. So a tiny little recap of last week's video. If you haven't seen it, I would advise that you watch it, and I'll put the link for you right here. So in last week's video we discussed first establishing the tonality of the piece that we're going to transpose. In this case, we were working on the 12 variations of Mozart on this theme. And this piece is in C major. So when we're transposing this piece, we have to keep in mind the scale of C major. So when we take a look at the first bar, let's see what tone we're playing. We're playing a C. Now we have to see what note is this in the scale of C. It's the first note. So if you're transposing it to any other key, for example E major, you'll have to play an E because you're playing also the first note of the scale in E. That's what we were discussing in last week's video. Now doing this, analyzing every single note in every bar is not the quickest way to transpose. It's a great place to start and it's also necessary definitely for the first bar. And also when you have notes that are very far apart. For example, in bar 1 we have a C and in bar 2 we have a G. That's pretty far apart. It may go quicker if you analyze. G is a very important note in the scale of C major. It's the dominant, it's the fifth note. So for me that would be quicker to analyze. But if you take a look at bar 3, compared to bar 2, bar 3 is only one step higher, is one note up. It's not very quick to go and analyze, it's not very efficient to go and analyze A is the sixth tone of the scale of C. That's not very efficient. What is much easier and quicker is to say, hey, previous bar we played a G, so I have to go one note up. So let me demonstrate this in the scale of E major. We start with an E because we are starting on the first tone of the scale, which is an E. Then in the second bar we play the dominant in E, that is B. And instead of analyzing that this is the sixth tone in the scale of E major, we simply go one tone up. Now there's one catch. You have to think in the new scale that you're transposing to. You have to think in E major. If you don't do that, if you go one tone up, let me play this for you. You see, immediately your ears tell you that's wrong. That's because I'm playing a C natural, and in the scale of E major, I have to play a C sharp. So C sharp and back down. So for example, in bar 4 we see in the original score we go in bar 2, 3, 4 we go G, G, A, G, G, back to G, G, which is from the G one step up and the next bar we go one step down. So it is much easier to simply, when we're in the scale of E major, to go one step from the B, one step up and one step down. Just remember that you have to think in the new tonality. So you have to think in the key signature of the new tonality, which is one of the reasons why transposing is a great exercise. You have to really think about tonalities. Let's take a quick peek at the first variation and do the same thing. Try to analyze but also be efficient in the same time. Variation 1 is still in the key of C major. It starts on a D, which is the second tone of the scale, which means that if we want to transpose it to E major, we're also having to start on the second note of the scale. Now here we have to pay attention again, because the second note of the scale of E major is not an F, it is an F sharp, because E major has 4 sharps. So we have to start our first variation on the F sharp. Now if I analyze the first bar, right, if I play it in C major, we start on the D, we go a tone down, another tone down, a tone up, down, up. So pretty easy. So we do the same thing in E major. We only have to take into account that E major has 4 sharps. So as if you remember, we had to start on the F sharp because F sharp is the second tone in the scale of E major. And then we have to go one down and one more down, but we have to play here the D sharp. If we play the D, it sounds totally wrong because E major has 4 sharps. You see, this sounds this is what it sounds like in E major, and this is what it sounds like in C major. That's C major and E major. So when you're transposing, in order to be efficient, the first step should always be take a look at the tonality of the piece that you're transposing. Second is take that scale. And the third is check in the first bar what note does it start on in relation to the scale. After that, try to be efficient. If sometimes your notes are very far apart, if you have big jumps, simply start again by analyzing what note in relation to the scale it is. But if you're very close, for example, you go a second up or you go a third up, don't analyze, just go up in your new transposed key. But just remember, think about all the sharps and flats of the tonality that you are transposing to. I hope this was useful to you. I hope this gave you a little bit more practical application of transposing. I hope you give it a try. As always, let us know if you have any questions about this topic or any other topic. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to join the community and subscribe if you like to. And see you next week.